I often struggle with the fact that I haven't really done too much with my life. I'm not saying my life sucks, but I can definitely take steps to make it a whole lot better. And while I don't think I'll ever reach that level of success, I think it's a meaningful pursuit to be able to boast as many achievements as someone like Forrest Gump. Robert Zemeckis' classic film is about a man named Forrest Gump who accomplishes everything anyone can ever dream of accomplishing. He's a star college athlete, he's a war hero and Medal of Honor recipient, he's an international celebrity, he's an entrepreneur and gazillionaire, and he literally ran across the country. He's definitely done way more than I have, and I'm willing to bet he's done way more than you have as well. While Forrest Gump is often silly and sometimes blatantly unrealistic, I think it's still worthwhile to examine what it is about Forrest that brings him to the places he's been in his life. First, we must remind ourselves that Forrest Gump's IQ is below average, and we can see from the way he charges through a school's marching band or the way he recognizes Apple as some sort of fruit company that he's not very good at perceiving and understanding his surroundings. The word dumb, although a bit harsh, is a word that sufficiently describes Forrest Gump, but I prefer words like innocent and, more importantly, open-minded. Forrest would never have found the strength in his legs had Jenny not told him to run. Forrest would never have been an All-American college football running back had his teammates not told him to run. Forrest would never have met Bubba, experienced warfare, and saved his comrades had he not been recruited by the army. Forrest would never have been a shrimping boat captain and eventual gazillionaire had Bubba not asked him to be his shrimping partner. We can go on and on, but the most important thing here is that no matter what the consequences may have been, given the odds that were against him, Forrest still did what most other people could never do. He tried. Forrest Gump's innocence and ignorance prevent him from having a large ego or bearing substantial fears that could have stopped him from ever trying any of these things. And while trying new things for many people is still an endlessly difficult task, it is by no means the hardest part of the journey. Forrest Gump is a simple man. Besides acting on his own accord when a loved one is in danger, the crux of Forrest Gump's ideology is, do what you're told, and that's it. For example, Forrest Gump assembles his weapon very quickly because, as he himself explains, his drill sergeant told him to. The difference is, after he follows through, he's not going to call it a day. He's awaiting the next order. The catalyst that spurs Gump's aptitude for ping pong is when his friend tells him, now the secret to this game is no matter what happens, never, ever take your eye off the ball. From then on, Forrest does exactly that. He never takes his eye off the ball, and plays and plays and plays. Not because he dreams of being a professional ping pong player, nor does he plan on even making a living with ping pong. He doesn't think about possible outcomes of investing time and energy into the sport, because that, in and of itself, is a distraction. He just plays ping pong. Generally, when Forrest is given a task or finds himself one, his mind, his body, his energy, and his soul are all focused on completing that task to the best of his ability without any sort of endgame, unless the job is completely finished. That is the catch here. As a personal example, when I started doing bicep curls, I used to set a numerical goal for myself, say like 6 reps per set or something. So after I finish 6 reps, I can rest before I move on to another set. It wasn't long before my friend corrected that mentality, telling me that establishing a finite goal only inclines you to stop when you likely still have the power and energy to keep going. That's why there isn't anything else to the phrase, never ever take your eye off the ball. That guy was trying to tell Forrest to literally never ever take your eye off the ball, even if your body is begging you to. The problem with ego is that it discourages us as much as it motivates us. We're naturally terrified of our egos being destroyed by critics and haters, which makes us fearful to try or follow through with anything we want to do. Due to his innocence and his intellectual inabilities, Forrest Gump is so far from an egotistical person. When you are unable to give a fuck about how other people think of you, you can conquer the world. Anytime Forrest astonishes anyone with his sheer audacity and ballsiness, people respond with,
"Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?"
To which he delightfully responds,
"Stupid is stupid does, Mrs. Blue."
It's almost like he's telling his haters, don't judge me by the way I speak or by the way I spend my money. Wait until I get going first and then you'll see. Of course, I don't think he means any of this, and his response is probably more of a habit that his mom developed within him. But one thing that makes Forrest very special and so believably successful in the movie is that he doesn't care what other people think of him. He spends nearly $25,000, which, adjusting for inflation, would be worth nearly $200,000 today, to purchase and refurbish a shrimping boat in Louisiana. Forrest is immune to his critics because he's not looking to be a millionaire. He's not looking to be the shrimping boat king of the world. He's looking to simply fulfill a promise he made to his deceased friend, because that's what makes him happy, doing things for and with the people he loves. Watching this movie made me realize that if we can exercise this ignorance within us to allow us to push forward, not as anyone else but ourselves, we would all be invincible in this messed up world. And considering that the film constantly intertwines allusions to the most tragic or violent or chaotic events of the 20th century in America with the many exciting episodes of Forrest's life, I believe that the film is trying to tell us that in this crazy, tumultuous world, the best thing we can do is to strive to be the best versions of ourselves, to love ourselves beyond the contempt of others, and, most importantly, to live our lives filled with nothing but love and positivity. That's why this movie provides the template for any sort of success we're looking for. I'm definitely not old enough to make any judgments of the world that are insightful enough to be considered wise and experienced, but one thing I've always been sure about is that, as a human being, the only way to live a life without regrets is to strive to be a great person. And being a great person entails trying your best in everything you do, and trying your best to show your love and appreciation for others. Being a great person entails focusing on a task or a goal, because life is beautiful when you grow and improve as a person. Most importantly, being a great person entails being the most superlative version of yourself, because you are so lucky to exist on this planet. Show love and respect to yourself. You are so lucky because you have been gifted the opportunity to live.